Hello, my name is Nachum, and the project that inspired me the most was the Macbeth project for my English 12 class. The main idea of the project was to act as a news source, covering the events that transpired throughout the play. Now, the stereotype surrounding Shakespeare is that it is extremely boring, and reading one of his plays is an excruciating task that will scar you for the rest of your life. And to be perfectly honest, I fell into this stereotype and I was not looking forward to reading Macbeth. This dread was one of the factors that heightened the inspiration that I gained. Let me explain. I started reading the first scene without much excitement, but I got a rough idea of what was happening. This was a bit surprising, as I assumed that the old-fashioned way of writing would be extremely confusing. While it was different from what I was used to, it was definitely manageable. So I reread the same scene, but this time I researched any figurative language or seemingly out-of-place phrases I didn't understand. And that's when I realized my perception of Shakespeare was completely wrong. When I reread the scene understanding every word's purpose, it turned from a dreaded reading project into a wonderfully constructed play. All the nuances and details rose to the surface, and I understood why this playwright that so many young people find tedious and uninteresting is held in such a lofty light. An analogy of how I felt when I initially read Macbeth is how a person feels when looking at a complex piece of sheet music. At first glance, it looks like an assortment of random notes. But to understand and appreciate the genius behind the work, you have to examine everything minutely. For example, you might think that these two measures are full of random notes, but on closer examination, you will see that the top notes are just every single note on the keyboard going down, and every bottom note is either A, C, or E, which makes up the chord A minor. The piece is in A minor, and that's how the genius Chopin put in the key of the piece in a seemingly random line of notes. I applied the same thread of reasoning to Macbeth. I read a line or phrase, and if it didn't seem to make sense, I wondered why he put it in. At first, it was difficult to understand his reasoning, but as the play progressed, this got easier, and I made some connections that I would never have been able to previously make. This complete turnaround of my perception was a tremendous inspiration for me. I quickly completed each week's addition to the project, as I had such a clear understanding of what was happening. I can really say that I completed this play, not only because I understood all the figurative language and imagery he used, but also why he used it, and how it helped construct this world that he created.